Well, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Your Blank What Now podcast. My name's Marcy Nettles, and I am your host. And I am just blessed beyond measure to be able to bring you these amazing stories of people that have really gone through a lot of junk in their lives, but they've found ways because they made a decision they didn't want to stay there. They wanted to be able to get out of it. And so we're going to share with you the things that they do on this podcast. And today is no different. And like I mentioned last week, we kind of have a theme of things going on here. We're doing quite a bit about health and wellness, about the power that you have in your own hands and the choices that you can be making for yourself if you're faced with something that has to do with your health, whether it's mental, spiritual, or your physical. Okay. So I'm really excited about my guest today. We were actually complete strangers about 3 days ago, but that's just how God works. When he wants people brought together, he brings them together. And that's what happened with us. A mutual friend connected us, and here we are today. So super excited about that. But Chelsie Ward is my guest today. She has been a student of the human mind and body for over 20 years. She has a background in applied behavior analysis, is a registered nurse, FDN practitioner, and spiritual healer. She works with independent, driven, fun-loving people who are tired of hiding from life, trying to figure out digestive and hormone imbalances on their own, and supports them with a personalized plan so they can love themselves and feel good in their own skin. She is the author of Healed His Way, where she shares natural healing techniques that have been used by many others so they can experience health the way it was intended. So guys, I got this book I think it got here in the mail yesterday, and I've been reading it last night and today, and I am blown away. The information that is in here, the truth of it, it rings true to my soul. And I just love the way that Chelsie speaks. It's like direct speak, right? She tells you how it is. So Chelsie, I am so excited to welcome you to the show. Thank you so much for saying yes to being my guest.
Thank you so much for having me, Marcy. And I love the way you put that. I've heard it worse. Direct. That's a really good way to put it. I like people to know the truth.
Absolutely. And in this day and age, we have not been sicker than we are now as a human race. And so we're so quick to just trust and follow instead of investigate and really listen to the people that are talking direct. So I am so grateful for the way that you wrote your book. And I hope that the What Now tribe will, as we get through this interview, understand the importance of their own choice and the decisions they make. So Chelsie, as you're sitting here in front of me, and as we're talking, you are absolutely beautiful. You're thriving and you're healthy, but your life hasn't always been that way, has it? Can you share with the What Now tribe, about your birthing and what your health was like really, into your 30s, right? Can you share with us?
Yeah. It's really interesting. And it was just a few days ago when I really put the whole birth part in there, because I never thought of it that way until you brought to my attention after hearing my story that I literally suffered from birth. And I started reflecting on that even a little bit more today. And I was like, if I told you every little piece of the story, I could share on 10 different podcasts and probably share 10 different stories because it was so complex. And it did start at birth. I was colic at birth. And if you're not familiar with the word, it just means a baby that's really inconsolable. And it's usually due to digestive issues. So stomach upset, a lot of maybe reflux, belly bloating, just bubbly gas, things like that. And that started at birth and it lasted until about 4 months. And my doctor finally said, I think she's starving. I was a fairly large baby. My mom ate a lot of strawberry shortcake, so I was probably pretty hungry, asking for sugar. And they started feeding me rice formula, which is probably not the best thing to do for a baby at that age, but I needed food and that was the best thing that they could give me. So I was actually getting full at that point, but still, I think a lot of it contributed to digestive issues and severe constipation, which lasted into childhood. And my grandmother was like, this girl has got to poop. I mean, that's important to grandparents.
Of course it
So
is. I think it's important to the baby. I think it's important to all of us, but grandparents really pay
yeah,
attention to that, right?
they do.
Yeah.
So, and I even remember into childhood, she would say, Chelsea, have you pooped today? And I'm just like, so scared. I know what's going to happen next if I say no, but I'm a horrible liar. And she's like, go get the suppositories. You know, you haven't pooped today. We got to make sure you're pooping. So that's really childhood. And the story kind of continues from there.
Yeah. So you had mentioned when we first spoke that you were sick all the time. It's
Mhm.
like if there was something that was going around, if anybody was going to get it, it was going to be Chelsea.
Yeah.
Um, why do you think that was? And what did your illnesses all lead to? I mean, because obviously that had to take a toll on you, mind, body, spirit, right? So can you share a little bit more about how your body did not protect you the way that normally it should?
Yeah. My grandmother actually looked at me. She was really influential in my life. You can probably tell. She looked at me one day and she said, child, you get everything that comes down this family line. I think our words are so powerful. I don't even know that I imagined to go in here today, but that stuck with me for whatever reason. I believed it.
Yeah.
I believed that, man, maybe this is just the way I'm supposed to be. Maybe I'm supposed to be sick. And I can't say for sure that's what drove a lot of it. But as I started reflecting on other parts of my story today, I was told I had depression before I ever felt depressed. I was told I wasn't a good eater and I had disordered eating before I ever developed a true eating disorder. And I think that sometimes we start to say, well, maybe this is it. Maybe this is my road. Maybe this is who I am. And we just begin to embrace it and say, oh, I knew there was something wrong. Maybe this is what's happening. Maybe I do have an eating disorder. Maybe I am depressed. Okay, that explains it. And it probably is something that this little child, just looked at as an answer. So I'm not sure exactly even as I reflect on it, I'm not sure exactly what leads to what, but for whatever reason, I did have a lot of complex issues, even into childhood. My first diagnosis was hypoglycemia. So I was passing out on the playground. I mean, I would just faint, fall out, and teachers were scared. I'd already been showing like ADD tendencies. They had tried private schools. They tried all the things to get me to pay attention, trying to do everything without medication, put me in smaller classrooms, put me in the front of the classroom. And then this whole blood sugar thing happened and I'm passing out and they take me to the doctor at age 7. Ambulance comes. I remember it. I'm like, Mom, I see the black ants, the ants on the screen. That's what I would say. And then I would be out. And so she called the ambulance and they were like, she has hypoglycemia. It's low blood sugar. She'll probably have diabetes by the time she's 30. That ran in my family. So it was like, give her these little sugar tablets. I remember them, little orange sugar tablets. Let her eat one of those and either crackers or orange juice. She'll perk back up, let her go on about her way. So that's how I lived for most of my life and literally hovering over the toilet every night, just nauseated, sick to my stomach because nobody really taught me about how do we balance blood sugar. It was never changed the diet, never did anything like that. It was just, here's the little fix for now. Just wait until she's 30 and then you can deal with diabetes then.
Oh my gosh. And so you're this young girl that just kind of having to flow in agreement with what people are saying about you, right? Because you're a child. What else are you supposed to do, right? And once you as an individual goes in agreement with something, that's when it kind of sticks and it really does then become who we are if we agree with it. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the words, they're so powerful. I don't think I could blame anyone for any of that. I think everyone was really trying to help me for sure. I had a very loving family. They wanted the best for me, but I just think that as a child, we really don't know how to process those things.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and we learn from our parents and we learn from our grandparents. And if your grandparents and parents didn't know the true importance of the words that we speak over people or the things that we're eating or the activity that we're getting, then how are you supposed to know?
Mhm.
Right. So that's what I love about this podcast because we're educating people and we want to help them. Right. And because you really were born sick, that's why we decided that your episode title would be You're Born Sick. What now? Right. And so it just fits so well for that. But can you explain how all of these issues with your digestion and with being ill so much, how that really led into maybe psychological or depression and why that would happen. How does that happen for people?
Yeah. So by the time I was 12 years old, I was having menstrual irregularities. I was having a lot of hormone imbalance, and I think a lot of that, there's a lot of psychological stuff that goes on there because what little girl even wants to let anybody know she started her cycle? It's something I wanted to hide. I was pretty shy. And then on top of that, like you're having these issues, and I didn't even want my mom to know. And I have this debilitating cycle that I can't really hide. So my cycles were pretty horrific, and I would end up staying home from school, and I would be on a heating pad all day. I would just be in pain and misery. My mom had endometriosis, so there was that concern there. She was just really nervous about what was really taking place with me and my cycles. So to fix it, she takes me to the doctor, and the doctor's like, no problem, we'll put you on birth control.
At
And I
12.
think at 12, yes. And I think that really stressed me as a 12-year-old, because I was like, Mom, I'm not having sex. I mean, like, and sex when I was 12 was like, I don't even know if I knew much about what sex is. Now, you ask a 12-year-old today, they probably know all about it, but we were in a different time.
Yes.
And it's just something that we didn't really discuss that much, even as a family. And it was a stressor for me. But mom explained it that, hey, these are going to fix your periods. You're going to be able to go to school. Everything's perfect, and again, you just kind of go with it. And it did work for a little while. But I think the birth control was the beginning of a lot of the psychological things for me, not only because of the stigma around what I felt as a stigma around that. I don't want people to think I'm having sex. What if somebody finds out I'm on birth control? What is the pharmacist going to think? All these things. And I spend the night with a girlfriend. I've got to take my birth control. It's not a fun thing. So there was that piece. And then later in life, I learned about the side effects of birth control, and a lot of those are digestive issues, which I already had. So there was the worsening of the digestive issues, and I started suffering from Candida albicans, which is a type of yeast infection that is very, very prominent with people on birth control, and it really got systemic with me. So I had severe acne, skin issues all over my face and my back and my chest. I was on Accutane. I ended up getting really sunburned, sun damaged from being out in the sun on this medication, which is really damaging to your skin. So I dealt with a lot of that, just not a very fun thing to look at or show your face in front of others. When you have acne, it's really embarrassing. And a lot of the other, like just the ADD tendencies I was dealing with, that was another like neurological aspect. And then depression and anxiety. And I never thought I had depression. I was told that by a doctor again. And then I thought, maybe this is me. Maybe I do have depression. And I kind of accepted that. So I went through depression and just a few bad relationships in school. And I think that just became a part of me as well. And I think it was all just a big combination, because one of the first books that I ever read on my healing journey was a book called Drug Muggers. And I realized that a lot of the things that we take into our body when we're on a medication, they're actually depleting a lot of the vitamins, minerals, nutrients, things like that from our body that make us feel good. So when we're getting depleted of other nutrients, then of course we're going to get side effects. And I think that's why we end up with a lot of these side effects. And that was probably just a huge piece of maybe getting the anxiety, getting the depression. And it's really more of a medication side effect than anything else.
Wow. Yeah, there's so much that goes into that, especially nowadays when we're depleting ourselves by medication that we're taking and our food's not helping to bring it back in because it's depleted itself, right? That's
Yeah.
hard. That's really hard. So did your personality play any part in the way your body responded or the way you tried to take control? Just in the 3 days I've known you, I know you're a type A. So
Yeah.
it's like, what role did your personality play in, first of all, your relationship with food and also the resulting health aspects?
This is so good. So I grew up independent, driven, successful minded. My dad was an entrepreneur. My mom was always like, you are going to take care of yourself. You're never going to have to depend on a man. You are. And I was in charge. I was the oldest sibling. I cleaned the room. I didn't want anybody to get in trouble. I was an in charge little girl and into adulthood, right? So that's the life that I lived. I just wanted to be in control, very driven. And I think what happens, you may have people in your audience that can really appreciate this. We want to fix it. We want to we just want to get it done. We're like, we got a little bit of body fat. We're going to work out. We're going to go on this diet. We're going to make it happen. And it's like, okay, I've got acne. What can I do? How can I fix this acne? Is there a pill? Is there a supplement? Is there something I can do to fix it? I'm going to fix it. I got into this biohacking type, stuff because I was like, if I can just hack my way out of it, I'm going to figure it out. But I was driven to, my husband is like, Chelsie, you take everything overboard. Nothing is just neutral with you. Everything is just to the highest level. So I would research supplements and I would go and I would take all the supplements that I possibly could to help myself heal. I would study about organic food and I would literally revamp our entire kitchen with organic food. Now, I didn't always do this in the right way because I'm still not really sure what the heck I'm doing out here. I'm just trying to figure it out on my own as I go, and I'm like, oh, I should have organic. Well, those Oreos are not organic, but those are, right?
Oh gosh.
So you're still going in the wrong. I mean, it might be a little better if I was not living on Oreos, right? But the thing is I had candida, I had sugar addiction. So I was still fueling a lot of those things. The food addiction, I went through a lot of eating disorders, binge eating, a lot of those different things. So those are the types of food that I would have in my home. And I was just driving myself crazy trying to fix all this myself. I was reading all these books and then I would implement everything there. I would say, oh, they say HIIT training is the new thing. And I would do an hour workout and I would be going just as hard and fast as I could, and I literally just burned myself out completely. I remember just driving down the road one day and I just felt it in my spirit. If you don't slow down, then this is not going to last. And I was like, I don't know what else to do. I don't know what that means. If I don't fix it, then who is going to help me? I'm trying everything that I know. I am at the bottom of the bottom. And I simply didn't know how to slow down.
Wow. How did you learn how to slow down?
My mother looked at me one day and said, Chelsie, you have got to be the most positive person I have ever seen in a situation that you're in. I had moved away from home and it was in my 20s, my younger 20s, and just wanted to take the next best opportunity, right? That was my driven self. And I thought it would be fun. So I moved away, and it's funny the day that she said that, because I thought, that's not the person I know, because I'd spent so many years of my life just so stressed over being sick, trying to figure it out. But when she said that, I realized that the initial work that I'd started doing was working. And I didn't realize it until years later, but that initial work had everything to do with my mindset. Before I ever started studying about pills and potions and natural healing and all those things, I got a hold of some CDs called Battlefield of the Mind, and you may know those.
I do.
And I just listened to those over and over on repeat until I almost burned. I'm sure I burned them out. I'm sure I did. But I thought, if I can just fix my brain, it's going to be okay. Like, if I can just be okay with where I'm at, I'm going to make it. And that was my goal. It was probably wrong to begin with, because I thought, I'll just fake it till I make it. I don't really recommend that kind of work at all. You know, I've done things the wrong way, so I can help people do the things the right way. And I would never suggest that, but I think that's really where I was in my headspace at the time. But what did happen for me is that I finally started to get it. I finally realized that if I just grab a hold of something that can give me hope, that there is something better, then maybe it's better, because I don't have to think about the things that are making me crazy all the time. Like, what if I just put my hope in something instead? What if I just start focusing on other things that I can do, instead of being the victim that I'm literally a prisoner to my home some mornings, instead of being able to go to work because my gallbladder is in a knot and I can't even leave the house. Like, I could be really upset and embarrassed and angry, or I could just call my boss and say, you know what, I'm going to be there when I can be there. And I'm so sorry. And I'm going to lay on the bed, and I'm just going to be grateful for what I do have. So it was that started the transition for me, that place of just being grateful for what I did have, and reflecting on that and celebrating the small things.
Yes, that is so important. I mean, first of all, focusing on the controllables, what you do have some input in, right?
Yeah.
Gratitude. So that attitude of gratitude. So you're putting yourself in the right space.
Mm-hmm.
And then, just being able to be open. Because once you can get to that point to where you're open, then things come to you.
Yeah.
Right. So tell me about becoming a nurse. When did that happen? Why did that happen? And did it kind of lead you down a path to where you got more answers for you?
So I believe I became a nurse because, well, I'd studied psychology, and I was going to take the GRE, which is the graduate exam, and get my PhD and, become a counselor. And I was really nervous. I was a horrible test taker. And I had a lot of anxiety around it. So I was like, that or nursing school. So nursing school kind of chose me. And nursing school was also a part of what I wanted to do, because I thought, maybe I can just figure myself out, and maybe I can help other people. And this is when I was sick. Actually, I got sicker in nursing school than I ever was.
Wow.
And we have a lot of stress in nursing school. We have a lot of medical procedures that we have to take as nursing students. We have a lot of long hours. We had to subject ourselves to shifts, swing shifts, when we're doing clinicals at night, class in the day sometimes. It's just a lot. And the stress, and you're learning a brand new language. And so it's pretty intense and stressful, on top of the fact that I was already probably weak in my immune system. And I remember losing a ton of weight. I was probably thinner than I'd ever been. So we think about, if we're overweight, then we must be unhealthy. And if we're underweight, then we must be healthy. And that's so untrue, because I was totally underweight, losing tons of weight. My nurse instructor said, Chelsie, you should probably have your thyroid checked. So I did that. They said everything was fine. I was stuttering. I couldn't think clearly. I was blacking out in class, too embarrassed to tell anyone. I would literally just sit down behind the computer screen until my vision come back, and, just put my head down, tell people I had a headache, but I surely couldn't see anything. I was just neurologically impacted. I was stuttering. I couldn't find my words clearly. I was really, really sick. And so I had a medical injury at the time, and I was able to start doing research. And I think that is really where it all began for me. And I realized, for me, I'm disconnected. But again, the driven person that I said, I have to finish nursing school, because my parents taught me to be a finisher. And I pushed through, and I went through with that. But I was watching my patients, and I was like, we're the same. We're being told the same story. And that is that medication and surgery is the way out. It's our only answer. And there was a part of me deep down inside that just couldn't believe that that was the truth 100%. I knew there had to be more. And I don't know what made me make that connection, but it was a deep knowing that I had to start looking for answers. So I started studying a little bit, just dabbling, and there was a lot of conflicting data out there, conflicting information. And that's when I started playing around with some things. And it wasn't until after I graduated that I started really diving into the work even more. But I went through nursing school, and I worked in a pain management clinic. I just saw the things that medication was doing. And I do want to say this very clearly, that I'm not against medication. I think that it's needed and it's necessary. I think that it's overused a lot of times when diet, nutrition, exercise, getting rid of your stress, having good, healthy relationships, getting out in nature, sleeping. Yes, all of those wonderful things are missing. So we cover all of that up with a pill, and I like to call that pill a Band-Aid. But it's a Band-Aid that we're covering a gaping hole with, and we need to cover the hole a little bit. And then if we need the Band-Aid, that's perfectly fine. But I think we've just, got it a little backwards.
Yeah, I agree. My personal experience with medication, and I agree 100%. There is a time and a place that medication is absolutely necessary. But my experience has also been that medication that I took, like you said, it put a Band-Aid on what the actual problem was. And until I was able to remove that from my my regimen or my treatment, that my body was not able to heal until I was able to get off of the medication. So I love the investigation that you're now diving deep into, and how you understand that our bodies, really, our food is our medicine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is.
Wow.
It's so interesting to look back and reflect on all of that, because I think the answer's here. We're just not taught. It's really found in nature. Like everything that we need to heal our bodies, and that hence the title of the book, Healed His Way.
Yes.
Everything that we need to heal our bodies is found in nature. And I remember when I first started diving into this, that's what I felt in my spirit. Well, you just trust me that everything you need to heal is found in nature. And I had to walk away from a lot of things in my life. There was a lot of difficult decisions I had to make to lead a natural lifestyle. And that is sad because I watch that happen to people every day. I don't feel connected with my family for dinner parties. How do I handle this? How do I handle this situation at work when I'm trying to live this lifestyle? How do I handle my desire for this new exercise regimen? And these are the types of challenges I help my clients work through every day because like I've lived it. How do I travel and eat healthy? How do I eat in a restaurant? Because the norm is not that we're surrounded by all of these great, wonderful, healthy options that we just, and the norm, especially for, I grew up in the South. I mean, like if I go home next week, I mean, macaroni and cheese is going to be on the table and they
Right.
consider it a vegetable.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Oh my
Right. And
gosh.
it's not to make fun at all. It's really
No,
not,
but
but
it's
it's
the
just the
truth.
culture.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's really, it's humanness right now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's become way too more common for people to eat food out of boxes,
Yeah.
or bags than it is to get that fresh fruits, vegetables, and be able to create a meal that is really good for you. And
Yeah.
as you mentioned, it's like Dondi and I are, completely revamping and getting back on track with our foods and with
Mm-hmm.
our sleep and with everything that we need to do because we understand the importance of that. But we have a trip coming up, to where we're going to be with a bunch of people and there's going to be social gatherings and there's going to be dinner parties and there's going to be all that. Guess what? We're taking our food. We're going to have our cooler. We're going to have, everything that we need because we have decided our health is more important than fitting in to that, right? And if we can be an example,
Yeah.
then that's what's important. Our health, and if we can lead it out to other people, if you want to say it that way. But it's so important.
You will. And you have to be the voice and you have to just live it out loud. And that's one thing that I've watched. And women are so strong. Women are amazing creatures. I've watched women transform their entire families over and over and over again. And it's as simple as them coming to me, and they come in frustration, of course, and they'll say, Chelsea, I do not know what to cook for my kids. Like they are going to starve to death. Like I have to cook 2 separate meals. And I'm like, no, you don't. Let's work this out. So we come up with a plan, and really it's whatever fits their situation, because some of them have super young kids. Some of them are trying to get more vegetables in. Some of them, have teenagers. And really, as these moms learn and they start to educate their families and their children, I've had 17 moms come back and say their 17-year-old son bought organic food from the store because it makes his tummy feel better.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
What more could you want? And as a mother, I mean, cooking 2 different meals, I've been in that position before, and cooking a meal for my kids that I wouldn't eat.
I know.
It's like, not to mention, it's like if we don't want to feed it to the dog, what are we doing eating it? Right?
Right.
It's so crazy. So I would love to know, Chelsea, what are some of the lessons that you've really learned as you've traveled through this chaos and you've reached this method, your wholeness, the go with your gut method. I'd like for you to share some of the lessons and then explain what is that go with your gut method.
The biggest lesson I want probably to people to understand is it is all about simplicity. It is all about getting back to nature. And I read, if God made it, then that's what we should be eating. And it's so difficult for people to it's like, should I eat this? Should I eat that? Should I eat this? Well, start really with plants, and they can be fruits, they can be vegetables, they can be nutrition. I mean, they can be meat. It doesn't matter. Just start there and leave everything out. You're going to have cravings. You're going to need to get over some humps, you're going to want to have a little piece of dark chocolate now and then, and that is okay. But I think the biggest lesson is start where you're comfortable. Start with your low-hanging fruit, as I like to call them. If you can take a walk after dinner, you're going to balance your blood sugar after your meals. Your body's going to love you. If you feel like you don't have the energy, that movement creates energy. And I think really just simplifying everything and realizing that the body cannot heal in a state of stress. Not only are a lot of people type A really driven, we're driven to succeed. That's who we are as a nation. But really, it's like that for most people now, just because of the busyness and the fast pace that we're required to have to just keep up on a day-to-day basis. From moms with jobs to, dads, and doing your activities after work, after school, trying to cook dinner. Then you're supposed to throw a workout in because you've been sitting on your hiney all day. I mean, like, how do we get it all done, right? And there's a lot of stress. So it's all about stepping back, finding that time to unwind and doing things that create peace in your life, doing things that are fun. So a workout doesn't have to be high intensity interval training in the gym. It can literally be like, I'm exhausted and I just want to roll over and stretch my body before bed for 5 minutes while laying on the bed. Like, can you just get that kind of movement in? Can you just like incorporate whatever it is that's really small and gives you a state of rest, and give yourself time and peace, because we're missing the peace part. This is where I find so many people mess up. And, I tried the psychology, didn't work too well. Tried the physical healing, didn't work too well. Tried the spiritual healing, didn't take me all the way. But when you completely create this package that incorporates all of it together, you can find that word that I like to call wholeness, So, and that's exactly what Go With Your Gut was created to do. And number one, I believe that digestion and nutrition plays a huge role. And it's one of the simplest things that we can do. The reality of it is that a lot of people, they don't get well by just changing nutrition. And I believe that a lot of that comes because we're toxic. So the latest numbers are that we're exposed to about 2.3 pounds of toxins every single day.
Wow. And
we have to find a way to get that out. So I teach my clients a detox method that they can implement from today to the end of their days. And I do that because it's been one of the most impactful things in my life that I've done to get well, to stay well. Remember, I was the child with all the colds, flus, viruses, picking up anything out there from a weak immune system. Well, prior to me having COVID, I wasn't sick with even a sniffle for 10 years. And that is because I highly believe that it is because I implement detox into my life every day. And it keeps my system primed so that my organs can do their job efficiently. Because if we have organs that are toxic and they have a lot of slime and sludge and they're not even functioning optimally because they just can't keep up, then they're not going to do the job to keep all the junk out. So detox is a huge piece of that. And then Go With Your Gut can take someone from the very beginning, from I am my sickest self, to I am my most optimized self. And I have all the tools in my toolkit to do it and take it with me into eternity, and I don't want someone to depend on me all the rest of their life. I want them to learn how to tune into their body so they can give it what it needs at any given moment, so that the body performs the way that it should and gives them what they want in return. And that's the other piece of Go With Your Gut. It's the intuitive part. Going with your gut is learning to trust your intuition, learning to trust the whispers of the body before they become screams. So,
That
yes.
is so good. Learning to trust the whispers of your body before they become screams. That's huge. That is massive. Oh my gosh. And I love how simple you made that in making it a wholeness. In it doesn't have to be a difficult thing to feel whole. It's a matter of starting with the small things, and as they become more natural, then you can increase and move into bigger things. And breathing is a big one. I mean, gosh, how many people actually take full breaths anymore, right?
Yeah.
They don't breathe clear down into the bottom of their lungs and use the whole lung capacity. They're always this short, and it's because we're so tense and we're so stressed out, right? So doing those
Guilty.
small things can help all
Guilty.
over the place. Yes, yes. I was just sitting here, I'm like, oh, I need to take a full breath. But in all reality, it's that simple, right? It's just being aware of what's going on. And I love the intuition part. Listen to your body, listen to those whispers, because we don't want your body to start screaming at all. So, Chelsie, what is one thing that if you could go back to younger Chelsie, maybe before you were started on the birth control pills, before your teenage years and all of this massive stuff started happening, what would you say to yourself? What advice or just what encouragement would you give yourself?
I would tell myself to learn to trust my own gut. I mean, truly, that's it. I think so many times we know exactly what to do. And I've kind of got beat up for this comment, but hear me out a minute. If we believe in our heart of hearts that healing is ours, that it belongs to us, that we can have it, there's an answer out there, that our neighbor has it, but we don't somehow, and like, just reach out to figure it out. Neighbor, what are you doing? Make the connection for me. Help me out. I'm suffering too. If you know that something can be different for you, something is like calling you. If a program is calling you, like, don't sit back and just, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I'm going to have the time. Where will I find all the money? Listen, you have one life. Hear me. Hear me. Hear this from someone who has been on the other side and knows what that sick life is like. I lived it for 30 years of my life. I thought that was it. I truly did. And to know what I know now, I wish I could just dump this into people's brains and that it wasn't a process. But there is no pill, there is no potion that you're going to buy from your friend on Facebook that's going to give you the answers. It is a journey. The body is intelligent. It is the most intelligent piece of equipment on the place of this planet. It is amazing. And when we give it what it needs, it's going to give us what we want in return, but we have to learn what that is. And I fought for years for my health because, number one, I wasn't really aware of this world of functional medicine. So if you're listening to this and you're tuning into this, and you might be hearing it for the first time, or maybe you've heard it 1,000 times, like, functional medicine is just a really fancy way of saying really getting back to the basics of healthy living. It is things that we are not taught to trust our bodies. We're not taught that because we've been living in this fast world of just whatever works now, quick, in a hurry, fast food, give me the pill. What about the surgery? Cut off my fat, whatever. Like, that's the world that we're living in. So that's what we think is normal. that is far from normal. Our body can do it for us if we just tune in. And there are amazing, amazing people out there. Maybe you don't resonate with me completely. Maybe there's somebody else you resonate with, and that's totally okay. You're going to find your person, but there are amazing people out there that are going to give you that step by step by step plan. And they're going to walk with you, and they're going to hold your hand, and they're going to support you, and they're going to encourage you. And don't you dare push them away, because they love you. I'm surrounded by people like that every single day. We are a community of practitioners who want to see the world healed, truly.
And we are so grateful that there is that community, because for a while there, it was really feeling like it was a pretty dark place, that we didn't know where to go to get the right answers, right? And so thank you for having that heart, and thank you for having this message, and thank you for living the life that you've lived, because everything that you've gone through, would you change any of it, being who you are today?
No,
Yeah.
no, I mean, I have no regrets, none. And it was torturous at the time, but I had so much here and so much here. My heart is like overflowing with the desire to give this to other people,
Yes.
truly,
Yes.
because of it. Because I know you. I look in your eyes and I know you.
Yeah, absolutely. You've been there, you've experienced it. And so you know personally. That is awesome. That is so good. So speaking of that, share with us a little bit more about what you're doing, to be able to spread this information, to be able to help people create their own wholeness around the world. What are you doing?
So I have courses, I have programs, I work with people in groups, I work with people one-on-one, and really it's finding out, like, where do you need the help? I have a very foundational program that helps people like just learn a little bit about lifestyle, like how to lose the weight, how to balance the hormones naturally, how to heal the digestive system naturally. And I walk you step by step through that. And we go as deep as you want to. If you have an autoimmune condition and you need additional like digestive work, or you need additional testing, lab testing, advanced lab testing, hormone balancing. I pulled myself out of perimenopause and I'm now cycling, ovulating, all the things. Like I have a lot of women, they're having babies, they're doing things. Like I can't promise babies, but if it's in the cards for you, all it takes is you getting your body healthy. So though that's the type of work I'm doing. I love working with people with digestive issues, hormone imbalances, weight and metabolism issues. Those are kind of my areas where just like so passionate about those. And I am all over social media.
Yeah.
So you can
Where
find
can you be
me.
found? Where can you be
Yeah.
found?
So I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I have a personal Facebook page and a business page. You can even shoot me a friend request. Let me know you found me through Marcy, and I'll connect with you there. I've got a group that I post into. Love Yourself to Health with Chelsie is what it's called. And then I'm on YouTube, and I do, just all of my videos and things there. So, and I'm kind of new to TikTok. It's been a fun little adventure.
Oh my gosh, it's very interesting, isn't it? It's like I kind of hit it and then
Yeah,
I kind of disappear for a while from
I
it.
know.
So before I let you go, tell us a little bit more about Healed His Way, your book, and where people can get it.
Healed His Way is available on Amazon. And if you want a signed copy with a little love note from me, you can order it from my website, chelsieward.com. And the book is scientifically sound. So I'm a nurse by background. I have all the science in there for all of you who love the science. It's also spiritually based. So it has all of the spiritual side of things, the emotional side of things. And I really try to tie all of that together so that, yes, you're eating good, healthy food. We talk about gluten and we talk about hormones. And what I tried to do is really give you a basic foundation. So I want you to get a highlighter and a pen as you're reading. And I want you to take notes and grab out a few things that you really feel like you can implement in your life that you can do starting today. And I want you to start doing those things. And when you get stuck, I want you to call me and say, Chelsie, I need that step-by-step plan that you were talking about so that I can get my health in order. And that's when you can call me and say, hey, I'm ready for your program. Because truly, it's designed to give you the life that you want to live for the rest of your life. It's not a diet. It's not a quick fix. It is to give you the tools, because this is what you need for a healthy life. It's a lifestyle.
Yes, absolutely. So, like I said, I've got mine and I am into it a couple chapters already. I just got it yesterday. It's amazing, guys. I highly recommend it. Go and pick yours up. And by the way, if you want to go to her website to order directly from her, her name is ChelsiewArd.com. So it's spelled a little bit different than I initially thought. So I want to make sure that all of the What Now tribe knows exactly how to reach you. So any final words that you have for us today, Chelsie?
I would say just give yourself a gift, the gift of health. I've watched health impact people in so many different ways. I am so amazed to watch people change their career, become authors, start a ministry, move to a different state, transform their entire family's lives, come off medication. I mean, the list is endless. So if you're sitting on the couch wondering where you're going to find the energy, where you're going to if you're stressed about going to work every day, if you're like all those things, our health impacts every area of our life. It is our greatest asset. So love yourself, give yourself the gift of health, and start today. Do something. When you listen to this, jump right off and go for a 5-minute walk.
I love that.
A message when you do.
I love that call to action. That's awesome. Okay, everybody.
Yes.
And I would just add one more thing in this is like, once you listen to this, share it to somebody and then go for your walk, because everybody needs to hear this message, guys. You're blessed being part of the What Now tribe, right? You're getting this information direct, but it's not meant to stop with you. As in all good things, it's meant to come to you and flow through you out to those other people that you know and care about that need this information as well. So Chelsie, oh my gosh, girlfriend. After 3 days, we're girlfriends already. I love this. Thank you so much for being such a beautiful guest today. I appreciate you and I appreciate this message more than you know. It's all about empowerment.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. I've loved being here.
Yay. Thank you.